Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to YQL Real Talk, your local real estate digest, so you can keep up to date with our local real estate and our economy. Today, your host is Kurtis Hawkins and Ty Gibson from the Real Estate One team.
How's it going, guys?
This is the first time Ty's been on the podcast, so he's a little nervous.
Yeah, we'll see how I do.
So today I just wanted to talk about what is going to be happening in real estate in 2025, not only in Lethbridge, but a little bit broader in Canada too, and what we think interest rates are going to do in 2025 as well, and how that affects the market. So one of the big, there's a couple big key points here that I want to bring up, and the first one, obviously, it's a little bit more relevant, is in December here coming up any week. I'm not sure when exactly. I should have looked that up, but sometime in December here, they're going to be dropping interest rates again. They're saying there's no question that they're going to drop interest rates. It's just whether or not it's going to be 0.25 or another 0.5% drop, which is huge.
That would be big.
There was really low inflation is kind of staying rock solid, which is good. Like it's staying really low, but our job numbers were down a whole lot, so everyone's saying that that's pretty much a layup, but they're going to be doing another 0.5 drop coming up here soon. So usually when we see those interest rate drops like we saw in 2020, lots of buyers jumping back into the market. Like that time was just nuts. And then compounding to that, this is kind of the crazier stat that I found. There's more than 1 million mortgages in Canada that are up for renewal in 2025.
That's quite a bit.
So what do you think that's going to do to the market, having 1 million mortgages come up for renewal?
It could bring some more listings, hopefully, at least.
Yeah, like in Lethbridge, we're suffering from extremely low inventory.
Yeah, lowest it's ever been, isn't it?
Yep, yeah, and we're kind of an outlier when it comes to real estate lately, because Ontario and BC, their real estate markets have more inventory right now. They're sitting on longer because nobody really was in the mood to buy out there because it's so expensive and interest rates are still pretty high. So they're kind of getting flooded with inventory. Their prices are coming down, whereas still we have no inventory and our prices are going up.
Yeah, two separate, completely different markets, pretty much.
Yeah, just put that mic a little bit closer to you. There you go. Yeah, so with our extremely low inventory, we're looking forward to more inventory, and I think that because we've seen such low inventory for the past 3 years, when I looked up in 2020 and 2021, those were the 2 years where we sold more real estate than ever. So most of the people, and that was before like the big migration happened to Lethbridge, because that was right during COVID. Everybody in Lethbridge moved during those times, is my guess.
Yeah.
So you're always moving around in Lethbridge, and anybody that moved during that time probably had a 0.5 or a 0.1%. Or sorry, not 0.5, a low 1%, high 2% mortgage. There's high 1 or low 2% mortgage. And between 2020 and now, they don't want to move. Like, why would you break your mortgage if it was at 1%?
Yeah,
right?
Honestly, most of the people I know, friends I know, are sitting there with the low interest rate, and they don't want to get out of their house until it comes down again, or at least gets to somewhere near that. So I think that's what most of the population is doing, or waiting for at least.
So like I said, once these mortgages come up in 2025, it's going to be very interesting to see if people want to upgrade or move or downsize, or they could just renew their mortgage at what it's at.
And then just stay. Yeah. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen. We're hopefully to see some more inventory hit the market once those rates do drop. I think that you'll probably start to see that increase with every single drop. But I mean, at the end of the season here too, coming into winter, the inventory is typically low anyway.
Yep.
So I don't think we'll know really until springtime here.
Yep. Yeah, springtime is going to be the time to do it for sure. It's just interesting because when interest rates drop, we get more buyers in, but compound that with the fact that everyone's going to renew their mortgage. Are there going to be enough buyers to match the demand of potential new listings?
Yeah,
I don't freaking know.
Yeah,
I don't know. So the interesting thing that I brought this up, we just did a podcast with Brett. We did the market update, and I brought this up to him in there too. But I think it's I'm kind of being a conspiracy theorist here, because it's very convenient that obviously inflation is going down, so there is a reason why they're dropping interest rates. However, it's like maybe it's just like the perfect storm. I don't know what it is, or like perfect timing, but because all these mortgage rates renewals are coming up in 2025, are they lowering interest rates because they know that's coming up in 2025 and nobody can afford to go from a 1 to a 4%?
Yeah, I think so. I think I did see a study on that actually, saying that I can't remember the exact number of it, but the amount of people that would have been underwater if they would have kept those rates up there around 5. When you refinance, $1 million home, when your mortgage rate current rate is at 1.5 and it increases to 5,
Yeah.
it can sink you.
Especially, and I remember I did a reel on this that had like 1 million views.
Yeah, I remember
and
that
I
actually.
said
Yeah.
that was 2022, I think. And I said once those interest rates peak and
Yeah.
people have to renew in places like in Lethbridge, if your interest rate goes from 1 to 5%, like Brett's did close to that too, and he was saying his mortgage rate almost like his monthly mortgage payment almost doubled.
Yeah.
So in Lethbridge on a $400,000 house, like it goes from 1,000 to 2,000. That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge.
Is it the end of the world for most people, especially like dual income?
Yeah.
No, but it still sucks. Like you can get by, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you were in Vancouver and your home was $1 million, like you got to buy a
That's the problem, yeah.
$1.5 million house,
Yeah.
it's not going to double. That's going to go from like a $4,000 mortgage. Well, let's say it doubles to 8,000. Like,
yeah, which is crazy.
Oh,
I mean,
what?
Many families won't be able to swing that. Won't
No.
be able to get through that. And I've even had clients that are selling out in BC for that exact reason. They bought a $1 million home, even multifamily. It was
like a rental.
no, it was not multifamily. Like it was 2 families going in on it.
Oh.
And the mortgage was coming up for renewal. They had like 1.5, and it was like $1 million home. Well, they were trying to get out because their payment was going to increase so much that they wouldn't be able to keep paying.
Yeah.
So that was the only reason they were moving to Alberta.
Yeah, which is a real concern.
Yeah.
For sure. So I can't help but wonder, they've never said this, but I can't help but wonder if they're also lowering these rates because they know all these renewals are coming up, and it could
Yeah.
be, for lack of a better word, a shit show.
Yeah, if that happened.
If
yeah.
that did happen, and everyone from a 1 to a 4 in those big markets for sure. And
Yeah.
those places will get hit the hardest.
Yeah.
Speaking to that too, mortgage delinquency rates are up a little bit too, like across Canada. In reality, and like the span of time, they're still very, very low.
Yeah.
But they are creeping up a bit.
Yeah, that would make
So,
sense.
Over the last 2 years, we've seen the lowest mortgage delinquency rates that we've ever seen too. So it could come up a little bit, and everything would kind of still make sense.
Yeah.
But if they go too far, this might be a reason why, like what we're talking about here.
Yeah, 100%.
Compounded to that too is the federal government is saying that next year there's 1.5 million temporary residents to leave Canada in 2025.
1.5 million, eh?
Like that's how many like temporary
Yeah.
foreign workers are, like their contracts are up.
Yeah, and then-
they're
yeah.
saying they're not going to renew them. They also ask them, well, how are you going to make sure they get out? And they say, oh, we'll make sure it's on their word.
Okay.
Which, I mean, if I was coming here, like I think Canada is like one of the best countries in the world. If I was coming from another country to one of the best countries in the world, would I voluntarily leave? Probably
not. No.
I'd be like, I'd do whatever I can to stay,
Yeah,
right?
And I think most people are like come here on the temporary permits because that's the first step to kind of get here and
Yeah, of
figure out
course.
a way to stay. So
Yeah, and there is like this, there's like the American dream. That's probably the Canadian dream.
The
You come here
Canadian
to
dream,
work.
yeah.
Really, you come here
Yeah.
to work, and temporarily, and if you can, you try to stay. Of course, like
Yeah.
be no different if me and you were like, I don't know, what's your favorite country?
Canada, but
My favorite country to visit is like freaking, I don't know.
I was gonna say Thailand.
Thailand,
Yeah.
yeah. Like if I could go to Bangkok and work temporarily,
yeah.
and I'm like, okay, I'll do this for 6 months and see if I can stay. Like,
Yeah,
that's-
exactly. I mean,
that's
I
just
was
common sense.
as soon as I got back from Thailand, I was trying to figure out how to go back and how to stay.
Yeah,
Like, if
you
I
said-
sold my house here, I could stay for a couple months. Yeah, I could swing it.
Yeah, $5,000 will last me. I don't know, like
Yeah.
couple months.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't you say that the real estate is like one of the only
Yeah, one of the only.
No, don't tell anybody that.
Yeah, yeah. One of the only jobs an expat can do in Thailand is real estate. Like you're not allowed to do any trades and stuff. Hence, when I used to be a welder, so I was looking, I'm like, oh, maybe I can weld here or something. And I'm like, no trades. You can't take any like even serving jobs. I don't think it is. You can only. I think it's pretty much number one is real estate, or number one is like teaching, so teaching English.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people go over there to do, and then selling real estate. So and I think
That's interesting that they don't allow trades though,
I know.
because
Yeah.
that's what Canada promotes as trades.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't want any expats like kind of taking their jobs and stuff. But real estate is on. I think it was actually fairly easy to get into. I don't think there's even a course or anything. So which is why like I was
Well, if
reading.
you want to
up
buy
on
real
it.
estate in
Yeah.
Bangkok, you call us.
It literally said that you have to be kind of cautious with like who you use over there and stuff. But I was thinking like that's what we mentioned the one day because we do the home tours. I'm like, we could do these in Thailand and it would blow up.
I'd love to. That'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
Maybe
It's one of my
we'll
favorite.
plan a trip next year maybe.
Did you go there for your honeymoon too?
Yeah.
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 That's so weird. We didn't know each other at the time, but we both went there.
Yeah.
We didn't get married to each other. We both have wives.
Yeah.
We both went to Thailand for our honeymoon, which was awesome.
Yeah.
We've been back once since, and I do want to go back again.
Me too.
Anyway, so if 1.5 million temporary residents leave in 2025, I don't think there's going to be that many. I think there'll be a good chunk that will. I don't think they all will. But in those big cities, that would help out rent prices like crazy.
Yeah. 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And with mortgage rates coming down, that should also help out rents. As long as there's more demand, if those two things kind of combine,
Yeah.
I think if interest rates come down and there's still no inventory out there, that's not going to help pricing.
Yeah.
But if those two things combined, that could be a big relief to renters out there for sure,
Yeah. The interesting thing.
and home buyers because prices will come down.
Exactly. The interesting thing about mortgage drops is it affects different markets around Canada separately. I think what I was seeing in the past little bit here, Toronto and Vancouver, their prices are starting to come down. So like, they're lowering the interest rate. Their prices are coming down. But then here in Alberta, when you lower an interest rate, more buyers come out, which typically would result in prices still continuing to rise.
Yep, just like we saw in 2020.
Yeah, exactly. So while the rest of Canada, the prices are starting to come down and they're trying to slow down inflation, it might almost potentially speed up inflation a little bit in Alberta, like with more buyers coming out kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it kind of affects Alberta separately just because we're in a different position than the rest of of Canada,
Yep.
essentially.
One thing, about 2 months ago, they started, or I guess probably 6 months ago now, time flies, when they started reducing the key interest rate, like the Bank of Canada. When they started reducing these interest rates, they really didn't see any uptick in any real estate markets. And I was watching some experts on Bloomberg and stuff, and they were saying, well, yeah, there's interest rate cuts, but people are needing to see bigger cuts before they jump in.
Yeah.
They really weren't seeing them, and they said they're still waiting for bigger cuts. But now, month over month, sales in Toronto are up 1.9%, and the average selling price in Toronto is up 2.6% compared
is
to
it?
last year.
Okay.
So already they're starting to see those interest rates are down, buyers are coming back in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So as much as I'd like to say that there's a whole bunch of residents leaving, interest rates are coming down, prices are coming down, it's going to be a lot easier housing market out there.
Yeah.
The fact that Toronto's already ticking up, Vancouver's already ticking up, I don't think it's going to be any easier this year around.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I
think
don't
prices
think
are
so
coming
either.
down, and I don't think we're going to see any relief to an already expensive housing market.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see as big of an increase as we did last year, but I think we'll still see an increase.
Yeah, I think we'll see more listings because I don't know how we have any less listings. Like there's almost nothing out there as it is. So
Yeah.
there is a bottom
Slim
to it, and I
pickings,
think
yeah.
we're at how many listings we can have, how few we can have. So I think there'll be more. Prices definitely aren't going to come down. I could see them kind of steady out, and we're at about, if we do the year average, we're about 380,000 for the average home. And last month was at 400, and then it kind of bounced back out to 380. So I think we'll probably stay there. I don't see like average house price being, 450 next year. We're not going to see that increase like we saw this year. Maybe 410 by the end of next year for the average home price. 415, that'd probably be my guess.
The more subtle increase. Yeah.
Of course, nobody has a crystal ball here. I wish we did.
That'd be nice.
The interesting thing, though, with the Toronto market going up, condo sales are down and apartments are down, but detached are up. So
Is that because prices have come down a
that's
little
because
bit?
nobody wants to live in an apartment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, like the Canadian dream is to have townhouse sales are up,
Yeah.
like semi-detached, duplexes, townhomes,
Yeah.
and detaches are up.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of apartments, and the federal government keeps saying that they want to build more multifamily. We need more multifamily. Well, we're in a country that has vast amounts of space other than Vancouver. Nobody wants
To be cooped up in an apartment. They want their own space.
Like, it's a good starter home.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, in Canada, like our thing, it seems like everybody wants a detached house.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
I'm sitting there. I'm saying all this sitting in my townhouse right now.
But it's still like a separate space. I mean, like a condo or an apartment is still a little bit different. I guess you get the condo townhomes and stuff, which, I mean, you can see there's more demand for a detached home, especially in Lethbridge. Like
Yep.
people who move to Lethbridge, you're definitely coming here because you want more space.
Yep.
Like even compared to Calgary kind of thing. Calgary has more downtown apartments and stuff like that, so you'll see more of that culture there. It's a little bit less prominent in Lethbridge.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
feel like if I'm dealing with a buyer in Lethbridge that's looking around 500,000 to 600,000, they want a view. They don't want any neighbors, but they still want
Yeah.
to be in town. If I'm dealing with the same client moving here from BC, Ontario, they're just like, I just want a yard.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine if there's neighbors. They just want a little bit of space. Like I've
Yeah.
been in a cramped townhome or something for the last 7 years. That just a yard.
Yeah.
Will do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting to see where people come from, like the city that they come from, and what the typical kind of way of living there is. Like yeah, Toronto, it's more common to be an apartment, and you come to Lethbridge and you can get your own detached house with 4 bedrooms and a backyard for the same price as that condo, and people are like,
For
"What?"
half the price of the condo.
Yeah, half the price. Sorry, yeah, exactly.
Depending on the size and everything,
Yeah,
right?
you
But-
have your own space, your own yard, a garage, everything.
Yep.
For less.
Yep.
So yeah, 100%.
Yep.
That's it. I usually see when people move to Lethbridge. It's very rare that people are looking for a condo or like an apartment style.
Yeah, the only people that I've really dealt with moving from out of town again that are looking for those is if they're like retiring or something. And
Yeah.
They're just like, I want something low maintenance. I want something new I can move into. Don't have to do any work.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, lots of professionals are kind of the same way. Like I had a couple that moved here 2 years ago, I think. Both parents were busy. They had 2 kids. They were like, we need to move, but we don't have time to fix anything up. Like, get us something new that has a garage. I don't
Yeah.
care if it's attached or detached. And they just wanted something lower maintenance, which those are also good for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm the same way. That's why I'm in a townhome. Like,
And that's why I'd roll into.
I don't have time to do a yard. I don't want to take care of anything outside.
Yeah.
As much as I'd love to have the time to do it, we used to have a detached house we lived in, mow the yard, do all the yard work, all that kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
enjoy it. I just don't have freaking time. So
I think my backyard is about the same size as yours, and I still just neglect it. So I would love just to have no yard, honestly.
Yeah.
I only have a yard for my dog. Like I just need a deck. That's all I need.
You put that dog
Maybe
to
I
work.
could live in an apartment actually. Why do I need a house?
I'm kind of the weirdo that's like that, but I also invest in houses too.
Yeah.
For like long-term gains. And I did a video on the 5 types of properties that you should never buy. There's
Yeah,
a
we talked
caveat
about
to
that.
them because there's always a situation where you could buy one and it's going to make sense for you.
Yeah.
But like from a financial standpoint, and this is why I say nobody really wants apartments at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is in Lethbridge, if you buy an apartment for $100,000, I always tell clients, be prepared to sell it for $100,000.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Because I
just don't
looked
have
up-
the same appreciation.
I looked at the last 10 years, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say in like 2014, 10 years ago, you could have bought an apartment for $120,000. I think it was the average price.
Yeah.
Now it's worth $123,000.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we've seen a
exactly.
little bit of a jump.
Yeah,
Like,
this year we've seen a little bit of a jump in
Yeah.
them, but that's probably the biggest jump we've seen.
yeah,
So,
and like it's the 10-year appreciation for them is very flat. It worked out to 4% over 10 years.
yeah.
Not 4% a year, 0.4% a year.
Yeah.
So like next to nothing.
Which, I mean, if it's all you can afford and, it's still better than renting for sure. Like without a doubt, like don't go buy a condo or anything.
No, I said that in the video
Yeah.
too, that like it's better than nothing. Like
Yeah.
if I was starting out, like I don't know, my house burned down, Chelsea left me, I had no money, I'd probably
Crazy scenario.
I'd probably go buy an apartment rather than
just
no rent.
Yeah, 100%. Me too. I would as well.
And I would probably buy the apartment, live in it, save up some money,
Yeah.
leave it, rent it out.
Yeah.
That's
Because
probably what I would do.
you can still make money even renting them out. You just like there's like two
They're
ways
good
to
for-
make
yeah.
money in like when you're renting something out. The appreciation, your investment on the actual property itself, so you're banking on the property increasing in value, and then also the rent.
Cash flow.
Yeah, the cash flow.
Yeah, so apartments can be good for cash flow.
Yeah.
Like I always work it out that if you buy an apartment here in Lethbridge in cash, you'll probably make 7% a year,
Yeah.
which is pretty decent, and
Yeah.
it's almost guaranteed until condos fees go up. But
Yeah.
generally speaking, about 7% a year after expenses and everything. But you're not gonna. That's what you'll make in cash flow, but
Yeah.
you'll likely not make any money on appreciation.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're
Yeah.
good for cash flow, not so good for appreciation.
And they're a little bit easier to maintain because you don't have to worry about the maintenance outside.
Yep.
Usually,
For
typically.
sure.
So,
Jumping one bit back into this for 1 sec. So, condo sales are down. No one wants an apartment. They want a detached house in Toronto. Vancouver home sales, and I didn't break this down into apartments. I think Vancouver is actually a little bit different. But home sales overall in Vancouver are up 28% year over year.
28%.
Yeah.
Holy. I was looking at the properties for sale in Vancouver, and there was a property that was a tear down. Like a tear down. It literally said like, they're pretty much selling it for like lot value, and it was $1 million.
Yep.
It was insane.
Yep. So my thought about this, because like every year I'm like, okay, another year. We had a bunch of people move here from out of town. In 2021, I was like, yep, we had a ton of people. Last year, 5,000 people. I think it was more than ever.
Yeah.
And every year I'm going to the next year thinking like, is this the year people quit moving?
Yeah.
Like, because the interest rates are coming down, their house prices are down. So if you
So are they
combine
gonna
those two
stay, or-
things, is
yeah.
it just like most people move here because of, when I talk to out of town clients, it's price, first of all.
Yeah.
Second is politics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Believe it or not. But if prices are low enough and it's cheap enough for them to stay, like, why would you move? Of course, like I'd love to live in Vancouver if I could afford it, but I can't, so I
Yeah.
don't live there. So if prices are reasonable enough, like, are they just going to stay and we won't see as many people move? This year, I thought that might be the year, and we saw more than ever.
Yeah.
And it was a down year for like their market. Like, if this was the year to stay, this would be it.
Yeah, exactly.
If home sales are up 28% and they continue to rise with lower interest rates, like, I just keep seeing more people move to
Yeah.
Alberta.
Yeah. Plus the other thing too is like a lot of people that we saw move here as well. Like how many people that you helped move here had family or friends, close friends that are, still living in Toronto or Vancouver?
A lot.
Yeah, a lot of them. So a lot of them were like the first generation to move here as well. So that's the other kind of part of it. Even if home prices do continue to drop there, I still think that we might still see a fairly steady increase of people moving here based on just, bringing their friends and family over. Like the first, family. What do you think about that?
I don't know what it takes for people to move, because I've had clients that said, I have one client still, and she still shares lots of my videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm sharing all these until I get more friends and family to move.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of looking at them like, so how was it? Was it worth it? Like, what's it like?
Yeah, exactly. They kind of have someone there already now to ask how it is.
Yep.
As long as it's good, I mean, I think that could also result
I-
in people continuing to move here.
I haven't had any of the clients I've moved here, I haven't had leave yet, as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I've helped a
either.
couple people that have moved here, not with me, but just like called me to sell their house, and they've moved
Yeah.
most of the time because of like a personal circumstance or a job or something, but not because they're like, I freaking hate it here, I'm moving back.
Yeah, no, I don't think have anyone that's moved back yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't lived out there. My mom lived in Vancouver, near Vancouver, for a long time. She was out there for 7 years, and she ended up moving back just because their prices went insane out there, and
Yeah.
she could move back here and do really well. And I've heard the same from a lot of people. So
yeah, absolutely.
we'll see what next year has in store, but
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
I don't know. If I had give me your all-in-one prediction, and we'll see if you're right next year.
Yeah, yeah, great.
Go.
Like based on like what do you mean? Just like
What's going to happen? Price is going to go up. Price is going to come down.
Like,
Is it
I
gonna be
think
competitive, not
prices.
competitive?
I think it's going to be competitive. I still think it's going to be competitive. I don't think we have enough homes for sale for it not to be competitive. Even right now, Like we're, typically in Lethbridge, it gets busy in the spring, summer months and
I'll
drops
give you,
down.
actually, before you go on, I'll give you one more crazy stat.
Okay.
Last year, this year up to date, we've had the lowest amount of listings we ever had, but we actually had more sales than last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
That's
this
why
year
prices
was
have gone
pretty
up.
crazy.
That's why prices have gone up so crazy, is because there was less inventory, but still more transactions happening.
Yeah. Well, in this year, like almost every, like from, what is it? From April till end of August, nearly every offer that I wrote was competition. Like
Yeah,
there was
over the summer for sure. It
almost
was
every
freaking
single one of
nuts.
them. Like you
I was
couldn't.
burnt out near the end of the summer.
Yeah, like I was looking at listings that would get listed. I would be like, call my client, I'm picking you up in 10 minutes. Like, be the first person there.
Yep.
Trying to beat the rush, and by the end of it, you'd have 4 offers every single time.
Yep.
Like, it was crazy. But this year, I don't think we're going to see as big of an increase in home values. Do I think they're still going to increase? Yes, I think they're still going to increase. I don't think it's going to be as nuts as last year. But even right now, like there's still more buyers than homes are for sale. Like it's painful to watch the system because one house gets listed a day. And you're like, okay, well now everyone's fighting over this one house.
Yep.
It's still not like crazy right now. Interest rates are dropping, so you're gonna have more buyers coming out for that. I think that we'll still see a decent amount of people moving here next year. I mean, just looking at the people I'm talking to right now, the amount of people that are kind of not buying right now, but looking to buy in the springtime, is telling me that I think that it'll be a fairly busy year at least. So I think home prices are going to continue to rise, not as crazy as it was last year, especially if they do more interest rate drops. That'll bring out more buyers. What else? Completely lost my train of thought there.
Well, I think I was talking to a realtor the other day, and it was a realtor that's been around for a long time, and they were complaining that they said when they were first licensed, there was like 600 houses on the market at any given time, and there was only 200 realtors. Now there's 429 realtors and 200 listings on the market.
Yeah, exactly.
So they were complaining about how bad the market is, but I'm like, but there's more sales happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Than even if there was 600, like just because there was 600 houses on the market doesn't mean they were all selling.
That's actually pretty wild.
That's
stat.
why that right there. That's like the single reason why prices went up.
Yeah.
There's less listings and more buyers than ever.
Yeah, exactly.
So if the buyers even stay where they're at and we increase inventory, housing prices are going to stay the same. If those interest rates incentivize more buyers that have been on the sidelines to wait, that have been waiting until this drop, it could be another crazy market.
Yeah.
But I also think there's going to be more inventory. So if we went up 20%, I don't think we're up 20% this year. I think we're closer to like 15. So I'm going to put money on it. 7% increase in home prices next year.
7%, you think?
I don't have a crystal ball, so I could be totally
You
wrong.
said it went up. It was 10% this year. Or about 10%.
I think about 15.
Yeah, sorry, 15. Yeah, 15. Yeah. See, I don't think it'll be quite as high. I think we maybe see 7 to 10 maybe next year. Maybe I don't know. Maybe 5 around there. Maybe not quite as much. I don't know. It's
I'm gonna
tough
go 7.
to say.
I'm gonna go
You're gonna go 7.
Yep.
All right, we'll do 5.
I hope it's closer to 5.
Should we put money on it? $100.
We can do this next year. You can remember?
Yeah, we'll redo this next year.
Is it
Deal. Shaking on it.
Oh God, no! This is public.
Hopefully.
What am I gonna do with my $100 next year?
Yeah, don't spend it before you get
it. Anything else? Do you have any like tips for buyers or anything for next year? Or sellers?
It depends on, for like this upcoming market, when you get into the markets where it's super crazy, like I said, I don't think it's gonna be as nuts, but just be cautious. Make sure you're looking at the comparables. Make sure you're not overspending on those properties when you're getting in those multiple, like in competition, like multiple offer situations. Just make your decisions calm and collectively, and look at the actual numbers for the house before going too crazy. I don't think it'll be as much of an issue, like I said, as it was this year, having to make sure that you're not going to be overspending on properties. But
I have a little bit of a different take on that. Of course, you still need to look at comparables and make sure you're not overpaying. But sometimes the deal, like this year, I was telling clients this, and like I did this myself because I bought a suited place like early last year.
Yeah.
It was first day in market. I had to go in there. I put the offer down, full price. like very first day, I was the first one in there.
Yeah.
I'm like, here's your full price offer.
Yeah.
I want the deal done. And they accepted it.
Yeah.
Because if I would have waited a day, it would have been over ask.
Yeah.
But to me, like in that situation, I was like, right now, the deal is getting the house.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. That's
Like,
fair.
You
As long
can't
as
expect
long
a
as,
deal sometimes.
Yeah. No,
And
I'm not
sometimes
saying like look
because
for a
there's-
deal, but
because there's no inventory, sometimes the deal is just getting the house, even if it's $5
Yeah.
grand, 10 grand. Because at the end, like if you're, the other thing I ask people too is, there's like a couple things that I go through when we're buying a house, and if we're in competition,
yeah.
I'm like, hey, we're in competition. We might have to go a little, and going over ask in Lethbridge is not like going over ask in Vancouver.
Yeah.
It's like 5,000, maybe 10,000.
Yeah.
15,000, but usually 15,000 you can justify it with other comps, and like they price this to get like multiple offers type
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly.
So there's always ways you can justify it. But I'll ask a client, how long are you going to be in this house? Like if you're buying a house, they'll be like, well, at least 5 years, probably 10. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's your forever house. I'm going to say, okay, in 5 years when you call me to sell this thing, are you going to remember if you paid 285 or 290? And they're going to
Exactly.
be like,
Well, and that-
it doesn't matter. Like it's like $15 on your mortgage.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's about $15, and I'm not meaning like those $5,000 increments. I more or less mean don't get. You see, when you go into like when in a super busy market, every property you write on 5 properties in a row, and by the 6th one, you're just going in blind because I'm done. I want to get this done. Just find a house. That's more or less what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Like not
no,
going
like I
over,
said, I
like-
still think it's important. It's
Yeah.
just another way to think about it too on my
Yeah,
end.
100%. You're totally right. I mean, going even like you said, that 5,000 over. Historically, like if you hold a home for 5 to 10 years, it will increase in value.
Yep.
Like so, realistically, any home purchase you make, I mean, you shouldn't be really planning to buy a home and get out of it next year. If you're looking for returns in a year, I mean, that's
Yeah.
not really the way to do it.
The only reason why I say this because I went through it personally. I don't just put this on my clients. I'm
Yeah.
just like, to me, I bought a rental. I'm gonna own it forever. Like I'm not selling it.
Yeah.
So do I care right now if I get it for $315?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
'Cause
because
it-
I bought the most expensive house on the block too. It was renovated very nicely.
yeah.
The numbers still made sense to me. I didn't have to do any work. The most expensive house next to that one that sold, I think, was like 50 grand less.
Yeah. But as long as the numbers make sense, I mean,
As long
if
as the
you
number
hold
made
it for
sense, and
even,
like I said, I'm gonna hold this forever.
yeah,
Do I really care if it's the most expensive house on the block now? No.
exactly, because you'll get your money back no matter what. I mean, even if you did want to sell in 10 years, 10 years should be enough time to even go through a downturn and come back up and see the
Yeah.
home values come back up.
The interesting thing too is if you bought 2 years ago and you were in competing offers, you would have been like, oh my God, I think I overpaid like 10
Yeah.
grand for this house. And now you just made another 50 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that's
Yeah.
not the case every time. I understand that. But anyway, we should wrap this up because we're dragging it on a little bit too much. So, I hope it was a little bit interesting. We did a little bit of our predictions on what's going on next year, and maybe you picked up another couple tips or some other way to think about the market. But if you guys liked this video and want to see more, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button so that we know that you liked it. And if you want to see more videos like this, we have a whole playlist of podcasts. Ty also has a YouTube channel. Have you started it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
good. Good.
yeah.
Ty has a YouTube channel now, so be sure to subscribe to him. He's doing more long form type of walkthrough videos, which are kind of cool. And also follow Ty on Instagram as well. He's got really good home tours too. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Sounds good. See you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.